9 months ago, the Husson Eagles came to a crushing overtime defeat in the North Atlantic Conference semifinal. The opponent that took them down is sitting on the opposite bench. Welcome everyone to this North Atlantic Conference women's basketball matchup between the Husson University Eagles and the Maine Maritime Academy Mariners. I'm Xander Cook, joined alongside Sam Miller and Mason Sicenas-Heimer. The Eagles come into this matchup seeking their first win of the season, while the Mariners are looking to bounce back from their loss against Keene State in a game that saw a Mariner comeback fall just short. Sam and Mason, the Eagles are led by prestigious coach Kissy Walker, who is an 11-time Conference Coach of the Year winner and the winningest coach in program history. However, her Eagles are off to an unusual start to the season, losing 5 straight. What is it going to take to right the ship after this slow start?
So the one thing that's really been bothering the Eagles this year has been the lack of three-point shooting. This season, only nearly 21% shooting from downtown, and at this day and age of basketball, that's not going to get it done. You really just want to find your shooters and just find any way to just tag on some points on the board. Scoring has been a big problem for the Eagles, and with a team like the Mariners, who are really, really good at attacking downfield with their depth that they have, it's going to be interesting to see how the Eagles defend that.
And honestly, I agree with Sam on the point of they need to be more consistent on offense, but I also think that they need to be more consistent on defense, as they have to guard Ariana Moore tonight, and she dropped 24 points last game, which is a big deal in college basketball today.
Yeah, the player to watch on MMA's side is Ariana Moore. She is so lethal from anywhere on the court, can just take what she wants at will. And on Husson's side, it is Lauren Cook, the sharpshooter. One interesting thing about Lauren Cook was hour and a half before game time, she was the lone player in this gym putting up shots early. And that's something you really like to admire if you're an opposing coach or an opposing fan.
Yeah, it's definitely what you like to see out of one of your better players if you're Coach Walker. And, of course, up here in the booth, we love seeing the amount of dedication and the amount of passion she has for the game. It just goes to show that she, along with her team, is locked in tonight, and they are ready to go to war with this team that, as you mentioned, Xander, really just gave them trouble a lot last year, and we're going to see some good things from her tonight.
It is going to be an intense North Atlantic Conference matchup. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. I'm going to send it down to the PA announcer for the national anthem and the starting lineups. All smiles in the Newman Gymnasium here tonight as we are just about ready for tip-off. It's going to be a fun matchup for us to watch and call.
Absolutely, and one thing that the Eagles really want to focus on today is keeping the Mariners off the glass. The Mariners, as a team, average nearly 41 rebounds per game, and a lot of that is Sydney Briscoe. A lot of her opportunities with her 10 rebounds per game comes from her ability just to get the ball off those offensive rebounds, so expect her to be a big factor in today's game.
Lauren Cook with the ball, hands it to Lengel. Traveling violation on Husson. Will be MMA possession.
Yeah, Lengel really favors that foul line jumper that she has. She's been working on it all season. You see her in pregame working on it every single night.
Here's Monzone, guarded by Harris. Feeds it to Moore. Moore gets it back, driving to the basket. Finds an open Blanchard. Guarded. Gives it off to Briscoe. Briscoe in the corner is Moore. Moore driving to the paint, shoots. Gets it to go.
And that's what you expect from MMA there. More attacking the paint.
First blood goes to Maine Maritime Academy. Here's Harris, guarded by Moore. Off to Montigny. Montigny goes around the screen. Back out to Harris. Harris driving. Trips, stolen by MMA. Here's Monzone. Monzone for the easy layup. Gets it to go. And that is 4 quick points for Maine Maritime Academy.
Notice how the Mariners are starting out in a 2-3 zone in this game. You see Red Briscoe lining up in the middle. Looks like now they switch back to man-to-man, woman to woman. But, yeah, they started out that first possession in the 2-3 zone. Looks like they're going back into it now.
Richards driving. Another traveling violation on Husson. That is now 2 to start the game.
And those early turnovers can come back to bite Husson.
Monzone, the starting point guard for MMA. Gives it to Blanchard, back out to Briscoe. Blanchard, scoop and score.
That was a nice screen from Briscoe and a beautiful cut by Blanchard. Just uses the screen of Briscoe to get herself into the paint. And the Mariners 6 early points on in this game.
Let's see what Husson can do. Lauren Cook with possession. Her 3, no good off the backboard. Rebounded by Briscoe. Here's Dagan, back to Blanchard, off to Briscoe in the paint. Blanchard finds an open Ariana Moore. Blanchard guarded by Montigny. Briscoe open, can't get it to go. Rebounded by MMA.
And like Sam said, Husson needs to get those rebounds.
Moore makes a move around Cook. Her floater, that's good, and just like that, it is 8-0 MMA.
That's just the kind of threat that Ariana Moore presents when she has the ball in her hands. It seems like whenever she gets the ball, the Eagles are collapsing right to her, and she's able to either kick it back out or just take it herself. As a result,
Alyssa
right there.
Alyssa Harris spinning, her layup, no good. Rebounded Briscoe, back out to Moore. Moore finds an open Monzone. Back into the corner is Blanchard. Blanchard driving, stolen by Husson. It's Alyssa Harris finding Richards. Her layup gets it to go, and that is Husson's first points on the night. Credit to Hannah Richards.
That was all set up by Richards on the play as the Eagles get another steal. Montigny really just working it around. But yeah, on that last play, as Richards once again, just the layup. Yeah, it was all set up by Richards with that steal. 2 straight steals on 2 straight possessions for the Eagles. That's the kind of momentum you want. You want to get back into this game.
It is a 4-point game now in this first quarter. Monzone finds an open Dagan. Her 3, that's butter. And it is 11-4 MMA.
And Dagan is that secondary offensive threat for MMA behind Ayanna Moore. Averaging 11 points per game.
Here's Jordan Langle, back to Alyssa Harris. Her open 3, can't get it to drop. Husson, and that'll be, it'll stick with Husson. Nope, it's going to MMA, and we're going to get some substitutions here.
Yeah, holding the line for Coach Walker here. Looks like she's trying out something new here with her team. Looks like that's going to stay with the Eagles. We had the foul on Briscoe. Credit to Jordan Lengle, who just checked out. Got good position on the basket and set up the other extra opportunity.
And there's Sophia McVicker. Can't get it to go out of bounds. It'll be MMA ball.
And we've seen this a lot this year from Coach Kissy Walker. A full group substitution. Done this in past games, and it seems to not have worked out so far.
Here's Lainey Lyle with possession. Gives it off to Moore. Moore driving to the paint. Tipped by Husson. It'll stay with MMA.
Good hands from Lily Roy to break up that pass on the play. Aggressive defense is something Kissy Walker really focuses on in any season that she's in. So really just upping that defensive intensity is the best way you're going to be able to slow down the Mariners.
We are seeing some intense defense as we see McVicker try to reach in and get the steal. And tipped out of bounds by Husson yet again. It'll stick with the Mariners.
And that's just a good rotation on defense from the Eagles.
Good defense by McKaylin Porter there.
Notice after the Mariners were on that very quick run, the Eagles a lot more locked in defensively. It seems like they're flying around a lot more. Their hands are way more active. Like we said, that's got to be the key if you want to beat the Mariners at their game.
And that'll be a violation on MMA. Husson with possession now. Here's McVicker traveling up the court. She'll give it to Roy. Roy fakes. Hands it to Beals. Beals, her pass out of bounds. Turnover on Husson.
Yeah, it looks, she was looking for Sage Evans on the block with Moore in her grill, trying to set up some offense down low in the paint. Hasn't worked out too well for the Eagles, but their defensive intensity has kept them in this game.
Miles hands it to Dagan. Dagan closely guarded there by Porter. Moore finds Jasmine Anderson in the paint. Her fadeaway jumper is good, and it is 13 for MMA with under 5 to go in this first quarter.
And Moore being so aggressive is just getting her teammates open, being a really good playmaker here for MMA early on.
No question, Mason. And we saw that move by Jasmine Anderson. She was working on that all pregame as well, so she's really comfortable on that right-hand side.
Sage Evans gives it to Roy. Backboard and in. Her three. Or excuse me, that was a 2 foot on the line. It is a 7-point deficit here for Husson. Lyles guarded by Evans. Into the paint is MMA, no good. They get the rebound. Moore gives it to Dagan, her three. Off the rim, rebounded by Evans.
Great vision by Moore to find Dagan on the perimeter. Dagan with a very quick release. Nonetheless, sets up possession for the Eagles.
Montigny blocked by Moore. MMA spacing the floor. Here's Moore in the corner. Feeds it inside. That's good to go.
And that's just Moore's playmaking ability, setting up her teammate for the and one.
Beautiful play by Addison Forey there. Draws the foul and gets the 2.
Yeah, as Mason mentioned, it was really good. It just really goes to show Morris's playmaking ability on that play. Really just saw the cutting Forey, and Forey with beautiful position in the paint to extend this lead to potentially 10 now for the Mariners.
Here's Forey's free throw. Rolls out, and that's a foul on Jasmine Anderson. Macy Beals with the inbound for Husson. She'll give it to McVicker. Some good defense early on in this game. We're seeing a lot of tip passes, a couple steals, a block. That's what we like to see as McVicker scoop blocked by Blanchard. Great defensive play, but it'll stick with Husson.
And both of the secondary units for each team have come out more aggressive since the beginning half of this game.
Just like that, after maybe a quick rest, Moore immediately back into the game. Head coach Craig Dagan for the Mariners. That one's off for the Eagles. Really just likes to have her on the court as much as possible.
Here's Forey, her layup no good, rebounded by McVicker. Sophia McVicker controlling the floor now. She is guarded by Grace Huntwork. Here's Lily Roy, top of the key. Roy back to Macy Beals, her three. No good. Rebounded MMA. Husson triple teaming. And Coach Dagan will call a timeout here with 3:09 left in this first quarter. We'll be right back from the Husson Eagles Sports Network. Back from the timeout. Haley Blanchard with the ball for MMA. Guarded by Macy Beals. Blanchard gets around the screen, gives it back to Moore. Moore finds Briscoe, her layup. That's good to go, and it is a double-digit lead for MMA here in this first quarter.
Beautiful cut by Briscoe. Moore once again drawing the defense with her playmaking ability, and Briscoe saw that hole and made them pay.
That was a spectacular pass by Anna Moore, threading it through the hole.
Macy Beals at the top of the key, guarded by Moore. Great defensive play from Ariana Moore there. Husson retains possession. McKaylin Porter's jumper off the rim. Offensive rebound by Sage Evans. Gives it to Sophia McVicker. McVicker finds Lily Roy, guarded by Moore. McVicker's three. Off the rim yet again. And it went out of bounds, so it'll be MMA ball.
Coach Walker really getting into her bench now. Freshman Alana Seward checking into the game. She's really just trying to figure out which lineups work well together and see which players can contribute whilst others are off the floor.
The freshman Seward averaging over 5.5 points per game. Good defense there from Seward. Moore driving to the basket. Her layup good to go.
Great ball movement there by MMA.
Textbook teamwork passing right there. Seward, top of the key, driving to the paint. Her layup off the backboard, rebounded MMA. Here's Haley Blanchard pacing the floor. Briscoe back out to Blanchard, finds an open Moore, quickly guarded by Sage Evans. Moore with the beautiful pass. And Husson foul, that is Sophia McVicker. Excuse me, it's not a foul. It was a jump ball rewarded to Husson.
Yeah, that was all set up by the play from McVicker. You saw Moore try to direct Briscoe into the paint. Since you saw she had a lane, McVicker timed it up beautifully and got possession back for her team.
Husson down 13 early on. It'll be interesting to see what they can do to cut from this deficit as Roy misses her jumper. Briscoe tightly guarded. Here's Moore. Finds Haley Blanchard, who cuts to the basket. Back out to Moore. Drives to the paint. Back out to Blanchard. Her three off the rim. And Roy will just let that go out of bounds. Under a minute to play here in this first quarter. It is a 19-6 ball game here.
One thing we want to point out about Ariana Moore is that she's had some really good looks to take a shot from downtown, but has always passed it up. She always looks like she's trying to find her open teammates and make that. She has that pass-first mentality.
McKaylin Porter jumper good. Here's Kirsten Grindle, and her pass off the mark. Early turnover there from Grindle.
Going back to that last bucket by McKaylin Porter, definitely what you want to see for the Eagles. You really got to be with this Mariners team. They will not relent on defense. You really got to move around and find some open space in order to get some nice shots like that.
Here's Richards, beautiful move, and her pass is stolen by Sydney Briscoe. Briscoe will stop, hands it to a lightning quick Haley Blanchard. Open three, that's off the mark. Husson with the final possession in this first quarter. 7 seconds to go. Here's Hannah Richards, double team. Her shot, can't get it to go. And it is a 19-8 Mariner lead at the end of this first quarter. Don't go away. We'll be right back on the Husson Eagles Sports Network. Welcome back to this North Atlantic Conference matchup between the Husson Eagles and Maine Maritime Academy Mariners. We've got a 19-8 early lead for this Mariners team. One thing I'd like to point out is both teams have prestigious coaching, MMA with Craig Dagan and obviously Husson with Kissy Walker. Both coaches are the winningest coaches in their respective programs. We see opposing fans and opposing players have a lot of respect for these two coaches, and rightfully so.
Yeah, both these coaches, experts in their craft at what they do. Really just built a really solid foundation for both their programs, as you mentioned, Xander. And as a result, as a broadcaster and as a fan, you really come to appreciate the beauty of what they've been able to do.
Here's Richards, guarded by Blanchard. Gives it off to Harris. Harris will just feed that to LePage. Seward to Harris. Harris driving to the basket. Her layup is good, gets the foul, and she'll go to the line to hopefully get that third point for her team.
And Alyssa Harris, the freshman, has been super aggressive in her 5 games played, averaging a team lead 8.2 points per game.
That's exactly what you want for a freshman early on, or early in her collegiate career.
Yeah, definitely one of those building blocks for Kissy Walker's team as you continue to progress. A great aggressive move to the basket and trims this lead down just a bit.
There's Anderson cutting to the basket. Beautiful play by MMA. It is 21-10. Here's Hannah Richards, top of the key. She'll go around the screen set by Roy. Richards fakes the three, gives it to Harris. The freshman will feed it to Roy. Roy makes a move. Her baseline J, that's good to go. And it is a single-digit lead now for MMA.
Excellent execution right there from Roy. Just notice the position she had near that elbow shot and just let it fly.
More. Nothing but net there. Back to a double-digit lead for the Mariners. When she finds her spot, she gets it to go nearly every single time. As Seward, her three, that's good to go. And it is an 8-point game. Here's Dagan, sweet move, can't get it to drop. Rebounded by Richards. We're seeing a lot of fast-paced movement here in this game. Roy, three, almost in, can't get it to go. Rebounded by Anderson, back to Monzone. Finds Ariana Moore. Gives it to an open Dagan. Her three, yep. 26-15 Mariners.
That's just too easy if you are the Mariners. Dagan is not somebody you want to leave open on the perimeter, and you just let that thing fly and extends this lead even more.
And Monzone with the foul there.
And like Sam said, you don't want to leave Dagan open. Dagan second on the team in scoring for them this year with 11 points per game.
Coming into the game for the Mariners is Lainey Lyle. Roy finds Alyssa Harris. Harris gives it to Richards. Richards guarded by Blanchard. Screen set by Lengel. Richards, open three. Sweet, sweet shot for Richards.
Silky smooth by Hannah Richards. Did not matter what the defense was in her grill. She let it fly with a big-time three for the Eagles.
Great defense there from Seward. Almost stole the ball from Moore. Moore guarded by Lengel. Great matchup there. Open three, MMA, no good. And they get the offensive rebound, but steps out of bounds is Anderson, and it'll be Husson ball.
Excellent hustle right there from Jordan Lengel to chase it down. Anderson had the ball corralled, but Lengel with a really immediate pressure as soon as he came down with the ball. As a result, Eagles regained possession.
And both teams so far in the second quarter have been super aggressive from deep with multiple attempts from three-point range.
Seeing some lights out shooting from beyond the arc so far. Seward guarded by Monzone. She'll feed it to Lengel in the paint, finds a cutting Alyssa Harris. And she is fouled on that one. Possession sticks with Husson.
You notice the Eagles really picking up their intensity on both sides of the court now. The Mariners in that first quarter got off to a very fast start. Now the Eagles a lot more aggressive, a lot more sharp when making decisions on both sides of the ball.
Harris, three, no good. Offensive rebound is Richards. Her layup can't get it to go. Great effort from Husson here. And that's a foul on MMA.
That was incredible hustle right there from Alyssa Harris. Grabbed the rebound off the miss from Richards and immediately found Lengel to save the ball from out of bounds. Excellent play right there.
Like you said, coming out of that timeout by Kissy Walker, Husson is a lot more energized. As Lengel will feed it to Richards, guarded by Porter. Richards tries to make a move. She'll just pass it over to Seward. Finds a cutting Roy. Roy's shot, good to go. And we have a 6-point ball game in this first half.
And the freshman Roy has been aggressive so far with 6 points.
As there's a foul by Alyssa Harris. Coming into the game is Lauren Cook in replace of Hannah Richards.
Yeah, going back to that last basket by the Eagles, that was a very well-timed cut by Lily Roy. She had the defense on her back, and a great pass from Seward to set up a nice basket.
Ariana Moore's shot, that's good to go. What's new? 8-point game for MMA.
That's just Ariana Moore's bread and butter right there. She really is just so good at getting to her spot and making things happen for the Mariners.
Leroy fakes a three, hands it to Alana Seward. Seward driving to the paint. Her layup can't get it to fall. And it'll be possession MMA.
And if you guys notice on the most recent Eagles possession, Ariana Moore switched on to Lily Roy after that made basket for the Eagles on the last possession.
Smart coaching decision from Craig Dagan. As Monzone gives it to Moore. This is a beautiful matchup here. Moore and Lengel. Moore can't get it to go. Great defense from Lengel. Offensive rebound. Monzone. Her pass. And good is MMA. On that shot is Grace Huntwork. And it is a double-digit lead once again for MMA.
Yeah, that was just really good offense by the Mariners. We talked about the rebounding for MMA. Briscoe right there to clean it up. As we talked about, 40 rebounds per game. It's been another one right there. Offensive rebounds have been a very big reason as to why they've been so successful in winning their games.
Monzone's errant pass saved by Huntwork. Monzone open in the paint is Briscoe. Her layup is good to go, and it is a 12-point lead with under 5 to go in this first half for the Mariners.
Briscoe averaging almost near a double-double with points and rebounds. Definitely a big part of their team this year.
Briscoe and Moore two dangerous players for MMA as Briscoe gets the rebound there. Mackenzie Monzone gives it to Huntworth, back to Monzone. Monzone guarded by Lauren Cook, the sharpshooter for Husson. Monzone will drive to the paint, finds an open Ariana Moore. Her three, can't get it to drop, and that is a foul on MMA right there. Addison Forey. And it'll be Husson ball.
You gotta give a lot of credit to Roy on the play. Crashing the glass on defense, just takes a well-deserved rest. Challenging Roy Forey in the paint to regain possession for the Eagles.
Alyssa Harris back into the game for Husson. As Harris will find Alana Seward on the perimeter. Seward gives it to Cook. Cook finds a cutting Lengel, back out to Seward. Lengel in the paint. Her jumper is good to go, and we have a 10-point game.
That's Jordan Lengel's bread and butter right there. You get her on either side of the block, she'll make you play with a beautiful hook shot.
Montigny, good defense there, rebounded by Cook. Husson trying to make something good happen here with under 3.5 to play in this first half. A 10-point deficit. They look to cut it to single digits here. Montigny to Cook, guarded by Blanchard. Cook driving to the basket. Reverse layup, can't get it to go. Rebounded MMA. Here's Addison Forey. Her layup, can't get it to drop. Rebounded Briscoe. That's no good. Possession Husson.
Alana Seward really putting in the work on the glass. Saw her sky for the board over the MMA player and sets up possession for the Eagles once again.
Both teams allowing some open passing lanes in the paint in this matchup as Harris, her three, no good. Stays with Husson. Great rebound there from Montigny. We have an 11-11 matchup here. Montigny and Moore. Kickball violation on Moore. Substitutions here. Layla Martinez will come into the game for Husson, as well as Sage Evans. Here's Lauren Cook. Feeds it to Martinez. Harris, guarded by Moore. Open Evans, jumper, in and out. Rebounded by MMA and Husson. Good defense there. As soon as MMA gets rebound in the paint, Husson is there to full court press, and that is something you like to see early on.
They've been crashing the glass a lot more aggressively in this second quarter. Coach Walker's got to be very happy about that.
I think Husson overall has come out more aggressive in the second quarter, both offense and defensively.
I think a lot of that aggressiveness has to come from that devastating defeat 9 months ago. Walker wants to get her revenge against Dagan in this matchup.
Notice how Montigny has taken the responsibility of trying to slow down Moore. Those are two very, very good players, very versatile, jack of all trades, lacking in none of them both.
Here's Dagan guarded by Cook. Hunt work, top of the key, guarded by Evans. Feeds it to Moore. Stolen by Layla Martinez. 2-on-1 fast break opportunity. And they'll just slow it down. Alyssa Harris driving to the basket, cutting Evans. Reverse layup, can't get it to drop. Rebounded by Briscoe.
Sweep find by Harris, too, to find the cutting Evans. Just could not get it to fall on that last possession.
Dagan finds an open player. Oh, great hunt work for three. And that makes it a 13-point lead for MMA under 1.5 minutes left in this first half.
And the ball movement for MMA has been so smooth early on. Hopefully it can keep going forward.
Sweet move from Lauren Cook there. And unfortunately called for a travel.
Those travels have really hurt the Eagles throughout this game. We saw about 3 of those in the first quarter alone. Another one right there. Eagles, of course, coming out a lot more aggressive of course, when you play aggressive like the Eagles have been doing, you could be prone to make a few more mistakes. Nonetheless, the intensity has picked up miraculously for the Eagles.
Eagles showing full court press. Good defense from Cook. Evans. Here's Blanchard guarded by Cook. Great move from Blanchard. Gifted to drop. And it is a 15-point game with under a minute left in this first half.
That was smooth as silk for Blanchard. Just watched the defender with a sweet move and extended the lead for the Mariners.
Moore tries to go behind the back as Blanchard picks up the pace. We got 30 seconds left in this first half. Stolen by Husson. Here's Layla Martinez. Finds an open Lauren Cook. Steps, three, fires, no good. And here is Haley Blanchard, under 20 seconds left. And she'll just settle it down so MMA can have one last possession here. Great defense there from Husson to poke the ball free. Sticks with MMA with 14.4 remaining.
And McKaylin Porter's hands have been active early on in today's games, knocking multiple balls loose and just being aggressive on the defensive end of the ball.
Here's Blanchard guarded by Porter. Sweet move from Moore. Her pass tipped out of bounds by Trinity Montigny. And MMA is going to have to get a quick play here with 2.4 remaining in this first half. We'll see what they draw up. Here's Haley Blanchard with the inbound. Finds an open Dagan. Dagan has to shoot it. Blanchard off the backboard. And we are headed to halftime. It is 37-22. Maine Maritime Academy Mariners on top in this first half. It has been the 3-point shootout for both sides of. It has just been absolutely amazing to witness. We've seen some incredible defensive plays. Both teams active on their feet, active with the hands. They're poking the ball free, getting some steals. It's been incredible to watch so far.
Yeah, both these teams really just doing a lot of good things. Of course, Maine Maritime really capitalized on all their opportunities very early in that first quarter. Had a lot of good looks, and as a result, were able just to push their lead up just a bit. The Eagles did come out a lot more aggressively. As a result, the Mariners were able to shut down any sort of momentum that the Eagles had in that second quarter.
And early on, we talked about Ariana Moore, and she's been the star of the game so far with 10 points in the game. And I just think the Eagles need to slow her down and be more aggressive on offense to get back into this thing.
That would be correct, Mason. They definitely have to slow down Ariana Moore. She is lights out from anywhere. Not only can she shoot from anywhere, when she has open opportunities, you don't know if she's going to take the shot or pass it to a teammate. We've seen that early on from Sam mentioning that Ariana Moore, she had multiple chances to shoot a wide open basket and instead fed it to one of her players. 15-point game here in this matchup. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the Husson Eagles Sports Network. Welcome back to the Husson Eagles Sports Network in this intense rivalry matchup between the Husson Eagles and Maine Maritime Academy Mariners. I'm Xander Cook, joined alongside Sam Miller and Mason Sicenas-Heimer. We are underway in this second half, and there's a traveling violation by Alana Seward.
Yeah, just like we started out last time, first possession of both halves have started out with a travel for the Eagles.
That is now 4 on Husson. First half stats, it's the Ariana Moore show for MMA. She's got 10 points on 5 of 7 shooting. Absolutely terrific. And for Husson, leader in points is Hannah Richards with 7 on 3 of 5 shooting, including 1 of 2 from beyond the arc.
The big difference I see is the points in the paint. 22-10 for MMA compared to Husson.
As there's a foul on Richards. And it'll be Moore with the inbound.
Yeah, to Mason's point, 22-10 in favor of the Mariners in terms of points in the paint, but also the Eagles' three-point shooting has not been there. 0 for 5 from downtown. As we talked about during pregame, in today's day in basketball, that's not going to get it done.
No, it is not. And you guys are right. MMA just controlling the paint at will. Husson is getting to the paint at ease as well. It's just that their drops are not falling.
They've had a lot of really good shot opportunities, just haven't been able to knock them down.
As there's Briscoe, her layup is good. It is a 17-point ball game. Briscoe now with 6 points in this matchup. As there's Sage Evans, and that'll be a blocking foul on Monzone, and Evans will go to the line for 2.
Good aggressive take there by Evans to get to the line.
And notice how in the start, normally in that first quarter, we saw Casey Walker's normal starting 5 of Lauren Cook, Trinity Montigny, Jordan Lengel, Hannah Richards, and Alyssa Harris. Right now, Richards the only starter out there for the Eagles, as Seward, Roy, Martinez, and Evans join her out there as well to start out the second half.
As Evans will go 1 for 2 at the line. And here is Mackenzie Monzone. There's Dagan, 3, no good off the rim, rebounded by Seward, and Briscoe will rip that away from her. But it'll stay with Husson as there is a foul on Briscoe.
To Sam's point, it is a different lineup out here, but with Roy out there, I think this lineup can do anything. Roy with 6 points, leading the way for the Eagles. Second on the team for the Eagles.
Sorry, that was a jump ball rewarded to MMA. There's Ariana Moore spinning. Feeds it to Monzone. Monzone wide open Moore. Gets a better look. Great shot selection, and it pays off for Ariana Moore. That is now 12 points for her in this matchup.
And how often have we seen that from Moore in this game? It just seems like wherever she wants to do, whether it's shoot the 3 or get to her spot, she's been able to do it with just a really good percentage in this game.
As Sydney Briscoe fouls Hannah Richards, Richards will go to the line at an opportunity for 2 points.
And even when Ariana Moore is not scoring, she's dishing the ball off to her teammates. And her teammates are making some really nice plays for the MMA.
She really is. She is already in the plus-minus category. She's over plus 15 in this matchup, so it's clear as day how much she means to this MMA lineup.
And that's really what makes her such a special player. Her ability just to take the defense away from their opposing players and focus all their attention on her as Martinez gets the steal. But her ability to just make everything about her on every single possession is what makes the Mariners and more as a unit so scary.
Richards is fouled on the drive there. Richards previously went 2 for 2 at the line. It is a 16-point deficit for Husson.
It all started because of the scrappiness of Layla Martinez, kind of that energy shifter off the bench that Coach Walker loves to have in order just to be a bit of a spark plug and get some energy up for the Eagles.
Richards, her inbound pass to wide open Martinez. One more pass to Seward. Seward's 3 off the mark. Rebounded MMA. Here comes Haley Blanchard controlling the court. Blanchard Underhand pass to Moore. Moore just throws it out of bounds, and you could tell by the look on her face she wants that one back. Little miscue there from the Mariners as Layla Martinez comes up the court. Guarded by Blanchard. Richards thinks about it. Finds Lily Roy, her three. That's good to go.
Zero hesitation from Lily Roy. That's just what you like to see for the Eagles. Struggling a little bit to start out this third quarter. And Roy, zero hesitation, lets it fly. Bang.
Textbook passing here from MMA. Layup no good. However, it is Addison Forey going to the line for two.
And that's 9 points now for Roy. That's what you like to see out of the freshman. No hesitation, letting it fly.
Both these teams have a lot of young and up-and-coming talent just ready just to build that building block for the future for both these teams. A lot of potential and a lot of star power in the making for both Maine Maritime and Husson University.
That's a great way of looking at things, Sam. As Forey will go 1 of 2 at the line. Here's Martinez up the floor. She'll give it off to Seward. Roy wants the ball, doesn't get it. And there's Sage Evans, her jumper off the front of the rim. Rebounded MMA. And Ariana Moore is it to a wide open Blair. Splash! Dagan for 3.
Lily Dagan. What we talked about throughout the game, not a person you want to leave open because she'll make you pay every single time.
As Roy tried to get back there, doesn't get it to fall. Ariana Moore feeds it to Briscoe. Briscoe going inside the paint, sweet move. Haley Blanchard, wide open 3. And that is an air ball, and Husson will maintain possession here.
The Eagles need something here on offense to gain momentum and get a shift and claw their way back into this game.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Mason, the Eagles clawed their way back from a double-digit deficit early on in the second quarter, got to within 6, and then Maritime just ran away with it after that. Moore will inbound for the Mariners. Anderson gives it to Moore. A 45-28 game. Moore shimmies. And she will get the foul call. And the foul is on Hannah Richards.
See what Coach Walker's doing, putting Lengel back into the game just to give the Eagles a little bit of length down there in the paint, trying to slow down Briscoe and, of course, Jasmine Anderson, who just checked in, just kind of slow them down in that painted area.
Moore is double teamed. Lengel right in there. Stolen by Martinez. Martinez gets it stolen by Blanchard. Great defensive plays back to back. And here's Anderson. Anderson cutting to the basket. Finds a wide open Blanchard. Blanchard will just take it. Finds open Dagan. No good. Rebounded by Harris. Harris, jumper. Backboard and no good. Rebounded by MMA. Ariana Moore, open 3. Nothing but net. You just expect that from her at this point. And that'll be a timeout by Kissy Walker as it is a 20-point ball game in this second half. We'll be right back on the Husson Eagles Sports Network. I'm Xander Cook, joined alongside Sam Miller and Mason Sicinas-Heimer. Back from the timeout now. Ariana Moore is all smiles after that bucket.
And Moore has just been, throughout this whole season, has just been the beat of the drum that the Mariners march to, and it's been no different tonight. She's been everywhere on the court, knocking down threes, setting up her teammates. She can do it all, and as a result, the Mariners are in control of this game.
Errant pass luckily stays with Husson. Lily Roy, top of the key, guarded by Moore. She'll just feed it to the freshman Harris. Ayla Martinez, guarded by Blanchard. Martinez gives it off to Harris. Corner three from Roy, that is blocked. However, Martinez gets it back, and her shot can't go in. Great defense there from Husson. However, it will be maintained by MMA here. That is a foul on Husson.
You got to admire the scrappiness of Alyssa Harris. As soon as the ball came down with Blanchard for the Mariners, it just seemed like the Eagles just swarmed her, and Harris tried to poke it away. But a bit too much skin on that one, though.
Harris with her third foul of the game. Blanchard picking up the pace. She'll just settle it down. She'll feed it off to Moore. Here's Anderson, makes a beautiful move, cuts to the basket, and draws a foul. No foul, and Craig Dagan wants an explanation.
Excellent play there by Layla Martinez. Been a pest ever since she's came into the game, and draw a charge there, and gains extra possession for the Eagles.
That's what Martinez does better than most players in the NAC. Her ability just to find her good positioning on defense as Seward floats it up. Her ability just to slow down defenders and be pesky and scrappy has been one of her best tools as a player for the Eagles.
Forey gets the ball, flings it up, no good, off the mark. And possession will stick with MMA here. Blanchard on the inbound, finds Moore. She'll just give it off to Anderson. Anderson finds Forey. Forey driving to the paint, and she gets the foul. Foul there on Lengel. That's her first foul of this matchup.
That's the 15th foul now for the Mariners, or for the Eagles. Now the Mariners will be shooting the rest of the way in this third quarter.
Forey gets it to drop. This game quickly getting out of hand in the second half. It's been all MMA here.
And I think, like Sam said, the Mariners shooting the bonus, I think that's part of the reason why the Mariners lead has gone up to this big so far in the third quarter.
Forey goes 2 for 2 at the line. Husson needs to watch their hands defensively. Here's Roy, jumper. That is waved off.
They're going to get Lengel the illegal screen, just to not have good positioning to move your feet just a bit too early. And as a result, it'll be another turnover for the Eagles. Little plays like that, along with some travels and some 5-second violations, have really cost them dearly.
Moore with the inbound. She'll find Lyles. Lyles quickly guarded by Martinez, the scrappy defensive player for Husson. Martinez quick with her feet defensively. Lyles isn't having it. She'll just give it off to Moore. Moore so calm under pressure. Open three. That's good. Grace Hunt work. Credit to Ariana Moore. Sweet IQ there and court vision. Makes it 53-28 MMA. Here's Alyssa Harris. She'll give it off to Roy. Open three. Can't get it to fall. And that's going to go out of bounds. Last touch by Martinez.
Yeah, going back to that last play for Hunworth on the three, just seems like whenever the Mariners get the ball outside the perimeter and they decide to shoot, they don't hesitate. They just let that thing fly as soon as they get that ball.
We're seeing, as there's a travel violation there on MMA, like you mentioned, as soon as Husson gets an open opportunity from three, they're letting it fly. just that their shots are not falling right now. As Martinez takes it up the court. Here's Roy. In the paint is Lengel. And we have a 5-second violation on Roy. Didn't take that dribble or pass as soon as she got it. Leads to the violation. And Jasmine Anderson will inbound it. Here's Lainey Lyle. Double teamed by Husson. And that'll be a timeout by Dagan.
Good trap there for the Eagles to force the timeout.
As Coach Walker will talk it over with Husson. Try to make something happen offensively. Shots just aren't falling. They're getting a lot of good looks, whether it's from three or inside the paint. It's just that they're putting too much on those shots, and it is a 25-point deficit for Husson.
And he talked about how they have a lot of, and you're right, Xander, the Eagles getting a lot of really solid looks from everywhere on the floor, but it just seems like the defense of the Mariners has really just it's been pestering all game long. I mean, it just seems like whenever the Eagles have an open look, or even if they don't, I mean, it's just that scrappiness of the Mariners that really just makes them such a threat on the defensive side of the ball. As they're swarming, they'll pester you and they'll make you they'll make you work for pretty much every single bucket that you try to get.
Now, like you mentioned, even when Husson does have those open opportunities, MMA is quickly there to close it off. It's been a great defensive game from Coach Dagan and company. Great game plan from him as Forey will go to the line for two. First one gets it to go.
And Forey's been super aggressive here in the second half. Putting up shot after shot, it seems, for the Mariners.
Rebounded by Anderson, tipped by Roy, out of bounds, sticks with MMA.
Beautiful position right there from Anderson. Gets away from her woman, grabs the offensive rebound, and sets up yet another possession for the Mariners. Rebounding has been a huge part for this team coming into halftime. They had nearly 20 defensive rebounds, and that one by Anderson makes it 7 offensive rebounds for the Mariners. Really having a field day on the glass.
Finds an open Forey in the corner. Her three off the rim. Lyle went down. MMA sticks with possession. Resets the shot clock. Moore in the paint. No good. And she, guess what? Offensive rebound. Forey drives to the basket and is fouled on Husson. That'll be a blocking foul on Lily Roy. Like you mentioned, Sam, a lot of offensive rebounds by MMA in this matchup. Husson just failing to box out their matchup.
Yeah, and it's really just a detriment in any sort of game. Controlling the rebounds is huge for any team, but for a team especially like the Mariners who thrive on getting as many rebounds as possible throughout the game. We talked about coming into this one, nearly 40 per game in terms of crashing the boards. So if you're the Eagles, you really got to do a better job of sticking to your woman, boxing out, and not allowing any more second chance opportunities.
Forey gets the first one to go yet again. Goes 1 for 2 at the line, and that is tipped out of bounds. Last touch by Moore.
Good aggressive play there by Alyssa Harris.
Here's the freshman Harris. Gives it off to McVicker. Her three gets it to go.
It's got to feel good for McVicker. Had a lot of good looks earlier in the game. Could not either got it blocked or just could not get him to fall. So
great defense from McVicker there. Wide open layup. And she gets it to drop yet again. Sophia McVicker.
One of those players that can get hot in a hurry. What you don't want to do is you don't want to leave a player like McVicker, who's so good on both ends of the floor, a very streaky shooter, just getting her rhythm.
And there's another foul on MMA, and this Husson bench making it known.
And this is the momentum that Husson needs right now to get back into this game.
Absolutely, Mason. I mean, you can hear it. The Eagles' nest now is lively once again. It was a little bit quiet when the Mariners started to build their lead, but now everybody on both sides of the floor and in the stadium, in the crowd, really just reinvigorated now.
MMA can't get lazy here, or else Husson will quickly crawl back from this big deficit. Here's Lengel, guarded by Anderson. Lengel takes it to the baseline. She'll hand it off to Montigny. Back out to Lengel. And there's a foul on MMA. And Lengel will go to line shooting 2.
And with more not in the game for the Mariners, I expect the Eagles to attack the post with Lengel.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Mason, now that Moore is out, they don't have that sharpshooter player that can space the floor at ease, and there's Moore coming back into the game. Coach Dagan realized having her out, a little bit of a mistake, given the momentum shift for Husson.
Yeah, Xander summoned her back into the game with that jinx of a call. And of course, and it looks like Dagan just taking it. Wow, Coach Dagan really just playing back and forth with his players here, just trying to see what best permits the usage of the clock here.
As Lengel gets it to fall, it is a 20-point deficit now, with under a minute to play in this third quarter.
Now Moore checks into the game through this time. But yeah, it really just seemed like going back to the Eagles kind of just sparking this momentum run here. It was Sophia McVicker, as soon as she checked into the game, that big-time 3 and that steal really just helped the Eagles just get some energy back.
As Blanchard is quickly guarded by Cook. Cook active with her hands. Blanchard gets around the screen set by Anderson. Anderson guarded by Harris. Moore, wide open lane to the paint, and she can't get it to drop. She is shocked on that one. Lengel with the rebound, and she'll give it to Alyssa Harris.
That was all set up.
Left.
That was all set up by Jordan Lengel's help defense on the initial drive.
McVicker gives it to Harris. Great defensive play there by Moore.
And Moore's size just generated that turnover.
Moore gives it off to Anderson in the paint. Sweet spin move. Can't get it to fall. Great hustle there by Lengel to get the offensive board. Here's Sophia McVicker. Under 5 to play. Alyssa Harris, open 3. No good, and that's how we end the third quarter. It is a 20-point lead here for MMA. I am Xander Cook, joined alongside Sam Miller and Mason Sicenas-Heimer. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back on the Husson Eagles Sports Network for the start of the fourth and final quarter. Back now for the fourth quarter on the Husson Eagles Sports Network in this rivalry matchup between the Husson Eagles and Maine Maritime Academy Mariners. It is Lauren Cook with the inbounds pass. She'll give it off to McVicker. Blanchard on McVicker. Here's Alyssa Harris. She'll give it to Cook. Cook finds an open Montigny. Her 3 off the mark. Rebounded by Cook. Here's Harris. Her pass deflected out of bounds. Possession sticks with Husson. Great defensive play there from Sydney Briscoe.
Yeah, Briscoe read that play beautifully. As soon as Harris got to the paint, she was trying to find Lengel on the sweet cut to the block, but nonetheless, great reaction.
Lauren Cook finds Lengel. Lengel guarded by Briscoe. Great matchup. And there's a foul on Briscoe. And it'll be inbounds pass for Husson.
Hey, keep an eye on Briscoe. That's foul number 4 for her in the game. And having her down low has been a very key component to the Mariners' success. So the more time that she's on the bench, the more time the Eagles will have for opportunities on the glass.
And as you mentioned, Briscoe heads to the bench. Spinning jumper, no good for Lengel. And there's another foul on the Mariners. This time it is on Mackenzie Monzone. Monzone.
And just like that, that's your 4th foul as well, as Forey checks back into the game for her.
2 players, 1 foul away from fouling out. Harris with the inbound. Gives it to Cook. Cook finds McVicker. McVicker guarded by Huntwork. Trinity Montigny will feed it to Jordan Lengel. And that is just an easy bucket for Lengel. Great defense there from Montigny. Whacks it out of Blanchard's hands.
Yeah, Lengel really just a sweet move to the basket, using her body to control her defender and lay it up nice and easy with the left hand. And Montigny. And we saw this at the beginning of the second quarter as well. The Eagles is once again really active defensively, flying around a lot more, as with just over 9 minutes left to play, a big chance here to slowly but surely chip away at the game.
As Sydney Loring for MMA is into the game, seeing her first action. Here's Ariana Moore. McVicker trying to swipe the ball away from Moore. Moore gives it to Loring. Back out to Moore. Harris guarding Moore. There's Blanchard, her floater. Can't get it to drop. Rebounded by Sophia McVicker. And McVicker drives to the paint. And that'll be a foul on Haley Blanchard.
3 quick team fouls for the Mariners in this 4th quarter. Only a couple more, and the Eagles will be shooting the rest of the way.
Here's Sophia McVicker.
The Eagles have been super aggressive on offense here to start the 4th quarter, and that's what they need to get back into this game.
As there's Montigny looking for the foul, doesn't get it. Last touch by Montigny. It'll be Ariana Moore with the inbounds pass. Husson showing full court press. And here is Addison Forey. Gives it to Dagan, her floater, gets it to go. And it is back to a 20-point lead for MMA.
We've seen a lot of that from Dagan. Normally we just see her spot up and shoot that 3, but this time, a hesitation move and floats it right up for an easy basket for 2.
Here's Trinity Montigny. Finds a cutting Cook. And Cook steps out of bounds. It'll be MMA ball.
Another turnover there for Husson. Not what you want to see.
And there's Sophia McVicker called for the reach-in foul. Saw the Eagles slowly but surely chip away at a huge 25-point deficit, got it to under 20. And now it's back to a 20-point lead for MMA as Harris and Blanchard get chippy. Here's Loring, her jumper off the mark, rebounded by Montigny. Here's Alyssa Harris driving to the basket, finds Jordan Lengel, and she will turn over the ball. Here's MMA, open Forey, her layup blocked by McVicker. Sophia McVicker.
A great chase down block by McVicker, and it went right off. I believe that was number 3, Dagan, driving to the basket.
Here's Cook for 3, off the rim. be a foul on Husson. We've got just over 7 minutes to play here. It is a 57-37 game. Haley Blanchard taking it up the court, guarded by McVicker. And Blanchard will just slow it down, let the clock bleed a little bit. Finds an open Moore. She'll cut to the paint. Her layup, good to go. And that MMA bench is making it known here in Newman Gymnasium that they are the team to beat in the NAC East. And that is blocked by MMA. Ariana Moore gives it to Blanchard. Blanchard finds an open Forey. And great defensive play there from Harris, out of bounds, last touch by Harris.
A lot of good defensive plays from both sides, or both teams rather. A couple blocks by the Eagles, a block right back by the Mariners. And we saw in the last one, Harris really just flying around the floor. She takes a well-deserved rest.
MMA has done a great job in this matchup so far, spacing the floor. Here's Moore, cutting to the basket. Her layup no good, rebounded by Lengel.
Good pressure by Lengel right there on defense to slow down the momentum.
Here's McKaylin Porter, gives it to McVicker, guarded by Monzone. Kachnovich feeds it to McVicker. Porter, cross pass to McVicker. Her jumper, that's good. And it is back to a 20-point game.
And the Eagles need to start getting shots up if they want to get back into this game. Only 5 minutes left.
Since coming into the game, McVicker has done it all. She's been scoring at will for Husson, and she is active with her hands defensively. That is exactly what Husson needed. A great spark plug in this fourth quarter.
No question about it. She really got off to a bit of a slow start, but since coming off the bench in the second half, has been a huge piece of the firepower as Moore gets to the basket once again.
And there is Moore. 1,000 career points at Maine Maritime Academy. Moore making history. There's Dagan and Moore hugging it out. Moore filled with so much emotion. And there's the opposing fans letting it known how grateful they are.
It doesn't matter who you are what team you usually rep, whether you're a broadcaster or anything like that. Scoring 1,000 points, no matter who it is absolutely incredible. The tip our hat here, all of us here at the Husson Eagles Sports Network, tip our hats to you, Ariana Moore. You are one heck of a player, and it has shown throughout this game.
It has been an extreme pleasure calling this game, witnessing history for Moore. She is one player that absolutely deserves it. A huge milestone for her. And she is all smiles. And you can't help but to smile ourselves here in this booth.
And of course, we talked about it earlier. We've been talking about it all game pretty much, but Ariana Moore is, since coming to Maine Maritime, has been such a huge piece as to why this team has been so successful. Her ability to just knock down shots, get to her spots on the floor, find her open teammates, and just make anything happen on the floor has been so huge. And her ability to just do it all has been so big for the Mariners, and as a result, she's been dominant in this game.
She is the ultimate team player, one that Coach Dagan loves to have in his lineup. Here's Kachnovich, going to the paint, drops to the floor, and she'll turn it over. Here's Mackenzie Monzone, finds Ariana Moore. Great pass there to Monzone. One more to Forey. Moore fakes it. Finds a cutting Anderson. 2 more passes, and guess what? That leads to a 3 from Evelyn Dagan. Just textbook passing from the Mariners.
That was ultimate team basketball right there. There were so many opportunities for them to just score at will on the play, but nonetheless, they just kept moving it around and found the great shot that led from a good shot. So great passing right there from the Mariners.
Mike Vickers 3, can't get it to drop off the rim. And Forey hits the deck, fouled by Lengel. Monzon and Forey are subbed out. Grindle comes in. Lyle comes in. Link comes in. Here's Lainey Lyle. She'll drive to the paint. Can't get the layup to drop. However, she is fouled and will go to the line for 2.
That was a good attempt there by McVicker to try to swat the ball away by Lyle. No dice there. Picks up her 3rd foul, and Lyle will be at the line for 2.
And Lyle averaging 4 points a game for the Mariners. An integral part off their bench.
Lyle goes 1 for 2 at the line. Under 4:20 to play in the 4th and final quarter. It is all MMA. Here's Kachnovich, her jumper, can't get it to go. Offensive rebound by Husson.
And you saw the great reaction by Porter to rip down the offensive rebound. And prior to the foul, she looked out and saw McVicker in the corner. You know that ball was going right to her had the foul had not been committed.
Here's Beals, gives it to Porter, her jumper off the rim, and that goes out of bounds for the MMA possession with under 4 to play.
And surprisingly, the Eagles aren't sticking with their full court press here with under 4 minutes to go.
Here's Lainey Lyle, the sophomore out of Texas. We'll give it to Huntwork. In the corner is Grindle. Grindle stops. Great defensive play there by Macy Beals. And she finds a cutting Aubrey Kachnovich, and she's blocked by Lainey Lyle.
Lyle, a little LeBron James-esque right there with the chase down block. Saw Kachnovich running right down to the paint, and she was having none of it. Swatted that one away.
Porter with the inbound. Finds Macy Beals, guarded by Grindle. Here's McVicker, open lane. Can't get it to fall. And that is out of bounds. Last touch by Husson.
It's been that kind of game for Husson where they just had a lot of good looks throughout the entirety of this game. Just have not been able to get them to fall. Got to give a lot of credit to most of that for the defense of the Mariners. It has been swarming all evening and has not let up ever since.
Coach Dagan just letting his bench get the playing time with under 3.5 to play. Smart move, not wanting to risk any injuries up big to his starting lineup as Link will find Grindle opposite court. Huntwork guarded by a couple defenders. Chris and Grindle called for the travel violation.
And even though that possession ended with a turnover, I think the ball movement speaks for itself. The ball movement has been consistent all game there for MMA, and I think that's what's led to their big lead.
100%, Mason. I mean, their ability just to move the ball around and just play unselfish basketball has not only let them control the game all evening tonight, but just has made them such a dangerous team throughout this season, and will continue to make them such a threat as the season moves forward.
It is absolutely tremendous to watch. This ball movement has been absolutely spectacular. You know what it reminds me of is 2014 Spurs. Spurs had similar ball movement where they don't settle for the good shot. They want the great shot, and that's exactly what we're seeing tonight from MMA. As there's Lyle for three, and this bench is so hyped. We got a 68-41 ball game with under 2.5 to play. And like you guys mentioned, that ball movement is all credit to Coach Dagan. It's clear as day. They practice that all the time in practices throughout the week, and it pays off every game.
Yeah, everything just going in favor of the Mariners. It just seemed like the Eagles, while the score might not paint it, they've been battling all night, really just not making anything easy for the Mariners. But the Mariners in this fourth quarter have broken it wide open. And as a result, the Eagles now just delaying the inevitable with some play here.
As Maisie Peach hits the first at the line.
And most of the shots that Husson have taken have been open. They just haven't fallen for the Eagles.
Maisie Peach will go 2 for 2. Yeah, like you mentioned, Mason, Husson had a lot of good looks here tonight, just couldn't get it to fall. 2 minutes to play now, and that's an errant turnover on MMA. That was Crystal Link with that bad pass. And here's Danielle Dow on the inbound for Husson.
And of course, one thing we have to mention about the Eagles is that they went through a very big transformation this past season. Lost some key players, one of the most notable being Bailey Donovan, who just really controlled the paint in so many ways, made them so much of a threat. Losing her obviously was so big. And Kissy Walker now trying to experiment with her younger players to see which lineups work and just allow her players just to really develop as the season moves forward. And of course, they still got plenty of talent to spare, and are perfectly capable of doing some damage later on in the season.
As Dow is at the line. Can't get the first one to go. Like you mentioned, Sam, Kissy Walker is just a tremendous coach. Husson will drop to 0-6 on their season, but as an opposing fan, as an opposing coach, you just think to yourself, Husson can't be out of it as long as Walker is the coach on this team. She just forces the will from her players. Just a tremendous job coaching since 1989 for Husson.
The woman with the game plan is Kissy Walker. It just seems like she's always able to pull something out of her bag of tricks, and as a result, the Eagles can just change momentum in the snap of their fingers. We saw it last year. They kind of struggled to start out the season, but then really picked things up and made it all the way to the semifinal round. So even though the score might not say it tonight and the Eagles will come away with a loss, do not, and I mean do not count out this Eagles team as the season moves forward.
A lot of season left to play. Blocked by Peach. Rebounded by Dow. Dow with a bad pass. Luckily, Beals is there. Beals, her three. Can't get it to fall. Dow hits the deck. Here comes Grindle. And Grindle can just settle it down here. Great pump fake there from Link, but it's off the rim. Here's Sam Haber. Under a minute to play in this 68-44 ball game. Peach with the screen. Beals, little miscue there. Was expecting Peach to turn around and get the pass. Here's Beals on defensive end. Great defense from Beals there. Rebounded by Husson. Here's Haber for three. No good. And MMA can just dribble it out here. It is a 24-point win for Maine Maritime Academy. As we saw some history here tonight, Ariana Moore crossed the 1,000-point mark and a masterful performance from Moore. MMA gets their first North Atlantic Conference win over Husson to improve to a 4-2 start, while Husson drops to 0-6 on the year. Don't go anywhere, folks. We have a doubleheader. It is men's basketball between Husson and MMA up next. I am Xander Cook. Thank you for joining us.